shows are weird, shows are freaky, but one thing that's always for certain is the TV provider not looking at your kid's best interest. You as the parent should be. Yo, children's TV show with a dark secret. Let's go ahead and get straight to the video.
It'll be worth 20 points. 20 points.
All right, flash image is shown.
No doubt.
What the fudge? This video deals with topics of, oh Lord, so it just gets worse.
Picture on the front page of every newspaper in the country, right, Ron?
Clip up, you're happy.
It's 8 a.m. sharp on a Saturday morning in 1979. Families in the Tampa Bay area turn on their television sets as thousands of sleepy children awake on their day off from school. Some flip to Nickelodeon, where a rerun of Pinwheel is playing.
Shaking right now, it's so scary.
Some flip to ABC, where they would catch the final episode of a short-lived TV series called Fangface.
Frick is Fangface.
However, that morning, others would opt for a more...
Boomerang! Nah, I know none of y'all was alive for frickin' Boomerang. I'd watch it late night, 2 a.m.
virtuous wake-up call, flipping the station instead to channel 22, or the Christian Television Network, where a new show was...
Oh my gosh, that sounds so bad, bro. Yo, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. I, as Kiddabsolute, I gotta make an authentic, proper kids television show that's actually does right by people, bro. Cause this is insane, bro. This is horrible. I'm tired of these cultic people twisting up the word of God, becoming something so disgusting. This is why people don't be messing with God like that, because they see all this crazy shenanigans, bro. All right.
Opening the day slate.
All right.
A show called
Joy Junction.
The show Joy Junction quickly found its place in the hearts of viewers, with kids immediately connecting with the quirky characters and silly games. Their Christian parents, too, found solace in the show's themes and non-offensive stories, creating a program that could be experienced together as a whole family. From that day on, families all across Florida and eventually across the entire United States came to enjoy the program, which continued on for a run of over 20 long years, until one Saturday morning at 8 a.m. sharp, when, without explanation, the show came to an unceremonious end and was never broadcast again.
All that background stuff must have went crazy.
Today, the show and all official records of it have been scrubbed from the internet, with the companies behind its creation and the networks that aired it acting as if it never even existed. Some allegedly going as far as to destroy any remaining copies, thanks solely to the heinous events that transpired during and after its television run.
What the
This is the story of Joy Junction, the children's TV show with an unimaginably dark secret.
What the fudge? Oh, that puppet in the back was terrifying. Nah, I feel like it's kind of crazy when they try to like kind of erase it. It probably is, but it's like, you know what the craziest thing is, like that the last one that we saw with the Davido and that entire series, like that went deep. And what made it worse is that it still goes on today, somewhere in like the Philippines or somewhere crazy. I don't know what they got going on. I don't know how deep this goes. It's obviously a shorter video from the last one, but who knows?
Half hour of fun and games at Joy Junction. Now here's Sheriff Don.
So we'll see the lead.
And welcome to this fun little town of Joy Junction.
Joy Junction was both the name of the show and the name of the fictional town in which it was focused. A town where numerous characters converged to tell stories, play games, and answer questions, all of which pertaining to Christianity. Each episode followed the same basic structure. They were 30 minutes long and would tackle one general lesson taught in the Bible and tell it through an acted-out story. This was then interspersed with various games and audience participation, as the show heavily leaned on including its young fan base and immersing them in the world of Joy Junction. They even had a live studio audience for every episode, comprised of kids ages 3 to 13, with the participants and crowd genuinely seeming excited to be there, which was largely due to its lovable cast of characters. The most prevalent of these was Sheriff Don, who was actually played by the creator of the show itself, Don McAllister.
Okay, so he's definitely, like, if I searched up his name right now, it's probably like some crazy acts are gonna go on, bro. Some crazy, heinous charges are gonna be pulled up.
And the whole gang is here, so we're going to have us a good time today. Glad you could join us for the next 30 minutes.
He guided the show from segment to segment and often focused on the Bible while driving home the episode's central theme, while also being the one who most often interacted with the children who participated in the show. Then there was Forrest Padley, a soft-spoken professor who, ironically, often had lessons taught to him due to his obvious clueless nature.
Your bubble, he'll even help when you did wrong.
Well, I'm not a pope, but how about he'll even help when you're in trouble?
Hey, Sheriff Don, you're a poet too.
And of course, the fan favorite, Whittler Dan, a caricature of a southern farmer known as the goofy storyteller of the group.
I thought he was Abraham Lincoln at first.
Oh, hi. I'm just sitting here reading some of the mail from Joy Junction and some of the jokes in here. Would you like me to read some more? Oh, okay. That's good, yeah. Oh, you want me to read it to you?
But of all the characters to come from Joy Junction, there was one, or two, who were by far the most popular, yet polarizing.
Wait, so
Ron and Marty.
Ron and Marty. I ain't gonna lie, anybody with the puppet, I knew it was up, bro. These guys look like cupcakes.
Professional ventriloquist Ronald Williams, Ron and Marty were far and away the most memorable characters for those who watched the show, and for obvious reasons too. Many children watching at home found the duo.
That haircut looks like I don't like to say that word, but I don't like how to describe it, but it's just like he looks very like that's not really nice to say someone's punchable. But he just looks very like easy to bully, right? And I'm not condoning bullying. Looks like
and Marty specifically to be off-putting, even horrifying, with some claiming that the doll gave them nightmares and was just too creepy to look at, causing many to stop watching the show altogether. But despite this, others found the duo to be hilarious and entertaining, tuning in week after week just to see them perform. For the viewers, it was a love or hate relationship with Ron and Marty. But even so, it was impossible to dismiss their impact on the show. They appear in every single episode that we have available today, and they were often tasked with teaching the children some of the series' most important lessons. Lessons like not to cuss.
It seems like I'm hearing a lot of swear words. All the kids are using swear words these days. And I'm afraid one of them's going to slip out of my mouth. First of all, why don't you try immediately praying and asking the Lord to take those bad words and thoughts out of your mind?
Okay.
See, that's a good idea.
Practicing self-control.
Self-control?
Okay.
Oh, well, I don't think my self-control works. It must be broken. Well, no, Marty. I don't think anybody can practice self-control all by themselves, but if you'll just ask the Lord to help you, He will.
Defeating bad thoughts.
Hearts will cause good words and thoughts to come out of our mouths. It's almost so, Marty, as if our mouths will overflow with the thoughts and the ideas that are inside of us. You know, we need to be very careful about what we put in our minds and our hearts, Marty. That's for sure.
And most controversially,
Ron, they were looking at some dirty pictures and they wanted me to look too. Well, Marty, what did you do? Well, I said, look, guys, I like you a lot and I want to play with you, but I can't look at those pictures. I just can't do it.
Okay.
Whether it was the lessons they taught or Marty's.
Okay, yeah, don't look at naughty pictures that you shouldn't be looking at. Okay, I don't know about maybe your age range. I don't feel like in the 1980s that, I don't know. I wasn't around then.
Blatant uncanniness. These two characters were the most vividly remembered part of the show. And this is important as these memories are essentially all we've been left with.
We are still covered with that darkness and with that sin. And when we say He'll wash us as white as snow, that's referring to the sin that's within us.
Joy Junction is classified today mainly as lost media. No official copies of the show have ever been published by its creators or the networks that owned it. It just kind of ended one day and was never talked about again by those involved with the project. And this lack of archiving stretches past just the media itself. If you were to look online for information on the show today, you would find next to nothing. There's no Wikipedia page, no actors, producers, or directors mentioning it in their work history or on their resumes.
What?
There's no official website. There's essentially nothing. Not even so much as an official date in which the show started and ended, despite the fact that the show apparently ran for 20 long years. We know for sure that the show aired on CTN in the 1980s, specifically in the Tampa Bay area, before it was later syndicated and broadcast across the country on channels such as TBN and Smile of a Child.
TBN.
But today, none of these networks mention the show having ever aired in their lineups, and none of them have ever provided an explanation as to why the show was pulled from the air.
Then how are we getting these clips? That's what I'm assuming. I'm like, gang, if you're telling me that this show was kind of one of those you only remember it in your head type vibes, then gang, I ain't gonna lie to you, you seem to be getting a lot of clips, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, you're getting a lot of clips. To say that it's been scrubbed the way that it's been scrubbed, so you say, who knows? Because probably it wouldn't be smart to look after this video. This was 7 months ago. It has 3 million views. I'm assuming more people have figured out more information about the series. Was it impossible for them to get? I don't know, bro. I feel like they were thinking in the Goosebumps, because you know Goosebump has that one doll. Probably have to like, I don't know. It could have got more one that looked friendly, you know what I mean? Not so creepy.
Know anything about it is thanks to old recordings and VHS tapes captured by those who once enjoyed the show. with a few dozen episodes and some short clips from the series having made their way to YouTube in recent years, essentially serving as the only surviving relics of Joy Junction.
Oh, they're just on
Because
YouTube.
of this, the show is largely a mystery, and information is incredibly scarce and hard to come by. But after doing some digging, I was able to find some mentions of it in old newspapers printed nearly 45 years ago that did shed a bit of light on the context surrounding its creation. The first mention of Joy Junction came in 1978 within the Evening Independent, though at this point it was not even a television show yet. Instead, advertisements were placed in the paper weekly for the Faith Community Church in Largo, Texas, that mentioned including some sort of in-person act specifically for children, called Joy Junction. It's unclear what this performance actually entailed, but coincidentally, just 1 year later, the show Joy Junction would begin filming in Largo, Florida, with these original performances likely serving as the inspiration and the basis for the show itself. Following this trail of newspapers, I also found that the show was created by a company called WCLF, which began broadcasting back in October of 1979, with the founder of the company vaguely mentioning Joy Junction as an upcoming project. And sure enough, 1 week later, that same paper included a television guide that mentioned Joy Junction showing on TV for the very first time, giving us its likely premiere date of November 10th, 1979. Aside from this, I was able to confirm that the show did in fact play all across the United States and wasn't limited to just Florida, which might be why finding an exact date on when the show ended has proven essentially impossible. But the most common belief across the internet is that the show lasted until somewhere around 2004, putting its lifespan at a surprising 25 years, which makes it all the more unusual that there's hardly any mention of it online.
I don't know how a show could be running for 24 years. 25 years, I think he said. How does a series run for 25 years and instantly get scrubbed off the internet? You know what I mean? It's like suppose, like, how in any way, shape, or form could One Piece ever get scrubbed off the internet? I feel like that's impossible. Like, how does something so long lasting just get eradicated in just a moment like that?
And that there was seemingly no attempt to ever even archive it. It seemed as if the parties involved didn't just drop the show and forget about it. They completely washed their hands of it and tried their best to bury it. There are even rumors circulating that CTN themselves had all their remaining copies set on fire and destroyed so that the show would forever be forgotten.
Good God.
And when you consider everything that happened, this isn't really all that surprising. But what is surprising is the extent of the unraveling and the way in which it began, as it all started with a simple water bottle. It's unknown when exactly the discovery was made, just that it was a terrible one. Police arrest a man under the suspicion of distributing CP, only to find numerous images depicting it on his hard drive, with the vast majority of the victims involved being impossible to identify, except for one. Within the background of one of the images lay a hidden clue, a water bottle displaying the name of a swim and scuba school in Johnson County, Kansas City. Police did a search of the area, asking for help identifying the victim, which led them to a young child who swiftly pointed out their abuser as being a man named Michael Arnett.
Michael Arnett. Okay, all right.
Michael was immediately arrested, after which the true extent of his crime would be uncovered on his home computers. They contained countless photographs and videos depicting the same disturbing material, including a great deal that was produced by Michael himself.
Oh God.
The contents of these images are genuinely some of the most appalling I've ever heard described, though we'll get more into that later, because there is something more relevant to this video that they found on his device. It was a lengthy online chat history with a man named Ronald Brown.
Who was that again?
You're not one to talk.
Oh, it was hit. I knew it. There was something, I don't know if it was for an act or if this was just actually how he was. There's something about this haircut and the way, you know, Victor from the Minions, like this is what he looks like, but like 10 times worse. You know what I mean? Like the way that he looked, there was something off about him. Even though, like, obviously everybody in this video, there's something off about them. The way that him and his puppet is, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me just already feel odd vibes and weird vibes, bro.
You're always on the telephone too. Well, I guess you've got a point there, Marty.
Ronald's life was centered around three things: ventriloquism, Christianity, and children. His primary job was
ventriloquism, Christianity. I ain't gonna lie to you, that's a very bingo board assortment of things to make that your center core of life. Besides Christianity, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Jesus. He's really the only way, but
working as a traveling puppeteer with a show called Puppets Plus, working school events.
No. First of all, let me move this. What the fudge is this? Why is this a thing? Like, who is making these disturbing puppets and this? You see what I'm saying? Wait a second, it gets worse.
Working as a traveling puppeteer with a show called Puppets Plus.
What is this? Guys, I ain't gonna tell y'all, bro. When I was a kid, bro, I was always terrified of Miss Piggy. You know what I mean? I've always been terrified of Miss Piggy. I've always have. I just felt like there was something so weird about the character. It always made me uncomfortable. Every time I watched it and heard the character, I was immediately uncomfortable. I don't know what it was. I think I had a nightmare about Miss Piggy. It's just something about it is just very terrifying to me. I don't know if I'm the only one, but
working school events, birthday parties, and at local malls. He also hosted a weekly puppet show for his local congregation that he billed as being
it's different when you have like a hobby where you make stuff, but then like there's always the people who want to be so unique, and then they just make the weirdest stuff imaginable. They make the weirdest, oddest, like what the frick is this? It kind of looks cool, I'm gonna be honest with you, but who is this off-brand it? Who is this off-brand it in the corner? You look exactly like this is you. I see it. And he tried to look all nonchalant.
Specifically for children. And of course, he had his role on Joy Junction. Every aspect of his life brought him in close proximity to children. And as it turns out, there were several undisclosed incidents that raised serious red flags about this.
Okay.
The first incident occurred in 1998, at a time when Joy Junction was still believed to be in circulation across TV stations. Brown was driving home late one evening when a police officer pulled him over for speeding. The officer shined his light in the car as Ronald reached for his documents, only for his light to catch something unusual stuck between the seat cushions. It was underwear. Children's underwear. Despite the alarming nature of this, Ronald would end up convincing the officer that nothing strange was going on, claiming that the old pair of briefs merely belonged to his puppet, Marty.
That's weird.
That night, Ronald was allowed to drive away without further questioning. Though things get stranger from here. Around the time of this encounter, Ronald had been living in a home conveniently located less than a block away from a popular playground. And upon moving into this home, neighbors began to complain of Ronald's relationship with young children in the area. Every Wednesday...
Oh, he was one of them older guys who used to walk outside and talk to all the kids in the neighborhood? Yeah, you got to keep a close eye on them folks.
Around the block would ride their scooters and their bikes over to his house for free pizza. The group would eventually...
Generational sell by the cop? Yeah, I don't know how that didn't cause any further questioning. Why did you sit there and be like, hey, man, you mind step out the car? Like, maybe get a couple officers like that? That is perfect time for some backup. We need backup for that. You pull a guy over, you think you just gonna give him a ticket. Whole time, he could be committing a S-class felony. We could really get onto that real quick. But that cop, I don't know, bro. It may have been a late night. He's trying to go home. He probably was convinced. I don't get it.
And Ronald would drive them in his van to a nearby church where he would supposedly perform his ventriloquism. Okay. These weekly meetups were strange to say the least, especially because they were allegedly fairly secretive, with some children even sneaking off to meet the man without telling their parents. There were even other allegations that Ronald himself had hid their bikes underneath his home, almost as if he was trying to avoid any suspicion.
What the fuck?
And although I couldn't find concrete proof of this, it was rumored that—
What the is that S-class felony? I'm talking about the big, what's it called? The big charges. You see what I'm saying? Like R-word. You see what I'm saying? R-word, murder, this case right here, CP. Like, we're talking about, those are the bigger, like I'm saying that, and then there's like, I guess tax evasion is up there. But like petty theft, like that's not an S-class felony. You know what I'm saying?
That when neighbors checked underneath his home, they reported not only finding these bikes, but used sex toys as well, which were stashed.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Stashed there for unknown reasons.
And
there were never any sort of allegations made against Ron, legal or otherwise, but the red flags here are glaring. Red flags that seemingly went ignored, as people bought into Ronald's act as a God-fearing, silly ventriloquist. Though in reality, the chats found on the computer of Michael Arnett shattered this perception in the most dramatic way imaginable. Though even so, these chats aren't what you would expect. No, somehow they are much, much worse.
Revelation. The following is a brief excerpt from Ronald and Michael's chat log. Due to the graphic nature of these messages, I don't feel comfortable reading them out loud. Respected. Ronald. I would have time. I would have time to do it. I would have time to do it today if I only had, yeah. Michael Arnett was the guy that was walking around with he was the one that got caught having those videos. And then Ronald was the guy that was on set with the puppet. Okay, I'm thinking I would have been all, okay. Wow. Oh, wow. Now I see why he didn't really want to read these. This is just, and the fact that he said this is only an excerpt of the actual thing is even more disturbing. I would have, that's crazy. I'm sure telling him all about what, okay. Fudge, that is crazy. What the fudge? What the yo, I ain't gonna lie, there's some really sick and twisted people in this world. What?
Within their conversations were numerous messages between the two men, fantasizing about not only killing children, but...
So, I know it was bad by what he said that was gonna be listed in the video, but it's just like, just because a case could say, okay, like suppose there's 2 S-class felonies, right? They're both S-class? Nah, that's different though. Because it's just like, if 2 people, like, oh my gosh though, but that also, like, if some person was to unalive a man, and then another person was to unalive a man, but both of them had 2 different reasons. One was for self-defense and one was just a crazed serial killer for whatever reason. Yeah, this is triple S. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a triple S class felony, 100%. This is crazy because he's talking about, because when he said that last part that was in red, the cut up part, I don't know if he was trying to speak in slang, but he was being literal, like he was talking about actually doing miscellaneous activities to this person. That would be nice of give all, okay. What the fudge? What do you mean cut up and what the, oh my gosh, bro. That's what I'm thinking. But he's talking about after things happen, then you saw what I'm saying, cut up and eaten is the next thing. Gang, what? I was very wrong.
Eating them as well, with most of the messages being far too vile to discuss or even show in this video. And this wasn't just fascination, it was obsession. Ronald had even found a child.
I would like to, before, okay, what the fuck? Oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh, bro. Now this is sick and twisted. Nah. I've seen, we've from all these videos I've seen, there's a lot of things that are sick and twisted. I think this one takes the cake for being most sick and twisted. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is, I'm shocked. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because everybody knows humans are capable of some very disgusting, devious things that's like, what is wrong with you? But you sit here and you think about that and it's like, oh wow, these guys are actually twisted in their head. There's actually something wrong with them. I'm embarrassed to say that this person considers himself a Christian and can plan about doing such heinous acts to very, very, very innocent people. That's very mortifying. But it's like, the problem is when stuff like this happens, there's signs. You get what I'm saying? Like stuff like this doesn't just happen like usually at a blink of an eye. Like there's usually signs that go up, that lead up to crazy things happening. You know what I mean? That's why it's like you gotta check people when you see them doing some very miscellaneous activity because it's like you never know. And I'm telling you, what do you mean the parents didn't know where their kids were going? What do you mean? Whole time stuff is happening to them. They going out for long periods of time and then afterward, after things are happening, they getting eaten. What? This is like a plot of like some horrific anime, a horror movie. What? This is real life. Yo, real life is crazier than fiction. I 1000% believe them, bro. Fiction has to take inspiration from somewhere. That's a bar. Oh, that's a bar. Fiction has to take inspiration from somewhere. Saying planned out cuts is wild to me, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I would have never expected it to make this turn.
Discussed wanting to eat, mentioning that he would be the perfect
he would make a Easter? Yes, his
Easter.
Okay, buddy.
Describing what it would be like to end his life.
I take you already. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. Matt, yeah,
and
this is sick and twisted.
And this went far past just talking, as Brown had taken photos of the child from afar and had actually been formulating a
might be, you should But okay.
Planned to kidnap him.
What the
He had even
fudge?
sent a photo of the child with black lines drawn over it to show the various spots in which Ronald wanted to butcher him.
Fudge? Yeah, this is a horror movie. This is a no. This is definitely a horror movie. Obviously, they should never make this a horror movie because this is based on some very traumatic situations. But this is definitely a horror movie. This is appalling. But I would but a bullet for each kid in him. No, but that goes back to what it is though. I see it like this, right? Who am I to serve that kind of justice? You know what I mean? Who am I to serve that justice? And I feel like it's different when you're in the situation and it's easier to say from an outsider's perspective, but it's like, this is a very sick and twisted man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Throwing him in jail is probably irrelevant because if they knew his charges, I ain't gonna lie, listing his charges alone will get him killed. I'm so serious. He's done for. He's done for. Just him listing his charges is going to get him killed. He has the craziest charges: eating, killing, taking pictures, and miscellaneous activities to a jit. No, he's done for. He has to, I don't know. This guy's done. I am vengeance. Yeah. Why did we get rid of public execute? Probably because that's a little too much. Public executions was kind of crazy. I don't know about people would want to see that though. Like, I don't know how to describe it, bro. I don't know.
This was all supported by his friend Michael.
He was okay.
Too, who himself claimed to have eaten multiple children, with a man even
Oh my gosh, this is so
sending
twisted.
a photo of a 2-year-old girl that was seen inside of a pot, inside of an oven.
Yeah, this guy's done for. Can we?
And this wasn't the end of the shocking discoveries either.
How is this not the end? This is where the goosebump is. I'm assuming he's not alive with us right now. Like, I don't want to wish death on anybody, but these guys, they are definitely, they come on, bro.
As things were made even worse upon investigators searching into Ronald's username.
What do you mean it gets worse?
In doing so, they discovered an account.
No. What do you mean it gets worse? Like anything that I can think of, I have no way in my head that this could possibly get any worse. Literally, there's no way I'm telling you this could get any worse. This is like the worst it gets. What do you mean it gets worse than this?
Out on a website called cutedeadguys.net, which was and is a forum for sharing images of the dead between those who fetishize corpses. And within his account, Ronald stated that he was one of these people too, admitting that he loved the sight of dead boys ever since he was a young man. And he wasn't lying either. Upon these revelations, Ronald's home was raided, where police would find over 200 images containing CP, which didn't even include the hundreds of others showing tied up children, children being abused, and children that appeared to be dead. Along with this, police also found a blow-up sex doll in the home that was dressed in little boy's clothing, and inside one of his sock drawers was another hard drive with images of countless dead children, as well as a single flyer for a missing child in the area. He also had hundreds of images of a young boy named Andrew, who had attended Brown's church and youth group, with the boy having died of a brain tumor years before. Photos that showed the boy's slow physical decline, all the way until his memorial service.
You know, Don, you have to invite Jesus Christ to come into your heart and ask him to forgive you of your sin.
Is there a website for... Guys, you got to understand this, bro. The internet has everything on it. And when I mean everything, I literally mean everything. Everything and anything can be purchased on the internet. And I mean it. As in current, as I say, guys, you can get anything and everything off the internet. And when I mean anything and everything, no matter how bad it is, I'm very serious with you.
On his arrest, Ronald Brown admitted to everything. He truly did want to eat the child he had been eyeing up at his church, along with many others over the years.
But did he not get him?
After saying this, he claimed that he would never actually have carried through with it, and that Michael and...
How? False. What do you mean? You would have never carried through with it. You did it before. You've done it. It's not like you never did it before. You've done it multiple times, hundreds of times possibly.
Him were merely role-playing. This is heavily debated to this day,
False.
as technically there isn't proof that any of these delusions...
Wait, he didn't? Bro, he was literally talking about this part of this person would make a good roast on some Bundy activity for jits. So he definitely has already done this before. No, he wanted to. No, I'm saying he wanted to with this one. But I'm saying that he's already done it before in the past. Like, this isn't the first jit he's doing this to. He's done it to many more in the past. Keyword would. No, Tall. Like, I'm seeing what you're saying. But it's just like, there's no way you can be this detailed and have never done this before. I have a very hard time believing it. You can infer, but it's not stated. How he wanted to roast all this thing about a jit. Do all of these miscellaneous activities. You got to remember this. Tall. In his house, he had hard drives of CP. He had images of over hundreds of dead folks. Okay. And he also had a life-size doll of whatever, something disgusting. And then there was a jit in the oven. We can't act like he's never done this before.
That's only what we know of. And considering the large quantity of CP in his home, the self-admitted obsession with dead little boys, and the actual plans he had to kidnap and eat a child.
You know what's crazy, bro? The problem is this, though. I feel like, guys, everybody out there, we have to start, like, I feel like society as a whole, we prioritize taking care of our daughters, young ladies out there. And I feel like that's very important, but something that we don't and we have a tendency to overlook is our young men. So I'm saying our young boys, our mind is so used to, oh, let's keep our daughter away from that crazy man. But it's not the same mentality with let's keep our son away from that crazy man. You know what I mean? I feel like some people's like, yeah, I'm gonna keep it away. But it's just like, we got to start keeping that same mentality when it comes to that kind of stuff. Because I feel like that's kind of dangerous. Where it's just like, it kind of leaves our young men available to all these crazy individuals. You know what I mean? Because like, oh, they're not going to care. It's just a young boy doing young boy things. No. Especially when it comes to older women. Yeah, exactly. People look at that stuff and just overlook it. You know what I mean? And I think that's a very big problem because doing those disgusting activities at such a young age messes with your mind. It messes with your mind. It's a lifelong journey of unraveling and trying to build healthy relationships. Yo, I promise y'all right now, always be aware of who you let your children around. You don't know, like, their parents, the people. Make sure your son, and you see what I'm saying? This is a very wicked world and a lot of crazy people we live with, bro. Gotta be aware of that kind of stuff.
It seemed clear that it was only a matter of time before he finally followed through with his desires.
He literally just now followed through with it, bro. Come on, bro. You gotta pick up with the context clues, bro. Yeah, I'm glad. Oh my gosh.
For Ronald, there was no defense. And because of this, the judge handed down a sentence of 20 years in 2014, which would wind up becoming a life sentence, as it appears he passed away sometime in 2020,
Come on, bro. I knew he wasn't going to make it, bro. I knew he wasn't going to make it. I thought it was very impossible for him to make it due to the fact of, come on, bro. Once inmates figure out what you've done, you're done for, bro. They said it was a matter of time, but then
before his
scheduled release, yeah, they say you're not going nowhere, gang.
This discovery changed the entire context surrounding Joy Junction, the wholesome TV show beloved by children all across the country, only for one of its main stars to be outed as a predator of the most disturbing caliber. But there was one last discovery made by law enforcement in Ronald's case that makes the show that much more chilling.
Everyone
During the raid
knew?
on Ronald's home, officers found a collection of journals that Ronald wrote in daily, where he obsessively discussed young boys that he had been coming into contact with, highlighting his desire to know what it was like to kill them and to know how they taste. These journals, to my knowledge, have never been released to the public, but the thing I find most interesting about this is the date at which these journals started. 1978, meaning that this disturbing desire had been brewing inside of him for decades. And coincidentally, Joy Junction just so happened to start 1 year later, in 1979, meaning that many of the kids seen on this program were likely the very same ones that Ronald wanted to eat. Given this context, it's no wonder why all parties involved with Joy Junction cut ties with it completely. It just changes the entire feeling of the show. From the moment that one simple water bottle was identified, Joy Junction's fate was sealed.
Honestly, I feel bad because I thought it was him. I thought he was in on it too, but it seems to be he had nothing to it. But the guy that was a weirdo ended up being the weirdo.
And so was Ronald Brown's. Still though, I'm left with many questions after reviewing this case. Was there anything more to that traffic stop in 1998, or those pizza parties with the kids? And how serious was Ronald about following through with his plans to kill C? With the answer to these questions,
the name given to the child from Ron's
likely being taken to the grave along with him. But what I find so fascinating about this case is that the fallout of the raid on Michael Arnett's home is still being felt to this very day. Honest devices weren't just chats from Ronald Brown. In fact, there were hundreds of other predators, with officers going on to arrest many of them, some of whom are still—
Yeah, bro. You know it sucks when, like, I don't even know how to describe it, bro. Sometimes you got to be mindful of the people you hang around, bro. Like, there's a lot of people who's just like, I don't know, like this, like when people get mad when some people have a tendency to look like people who do crazy things. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, bro.
Still in the process of being tried and sentenced. And when reading into some of these other cases involving Michael, it's evident just how serious these people were about their
international, oh wow,
dark cravings. One of these men was even recently caught having built an entire bunker equipped—
the dungeon described he intended
with torture tools in preparation for his first victim,
murder,
which he planned to share with Michael. On top of all the CP distribution, these fantasies about killing children weren't just roleplay. These were very real thoughts and very real plans.
Yeah,
but the one small bright spot of this case is that the 2-year-old girl that Michael had photographed in his oven, thankfully, was found alive and well. And he too never got to carry through with eating a child, at least that we know. But his physical abuse against them was in fact—
bro, he got them Dahmer glasses, bro.
Very real. And as were his desires that him and Ronald likely would have acted on had this entire ring never been exposed.
Oh, for sure. He definitely would have eaten and did a lot of disgusting things. You know what the problem is, though? Problem is like, where does it go from them? Because, like, these guys are some, like, I wouldn't even say freaks are the word. These guys are very disturbed. Since their freak tolerance, probably that's not even the best word, but their tolerance for doing these very crazy activities is so high. It's like they need to find the next high. You get what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, it gets to the point that they do this and then they want to go more and more and more and more. Try to up the ante. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. Doing something crazy, cutting and eating is wild. Freak tolerance? No, I don't want to use freak tolerance because there's a lot of people out there that, you see what I'm saying, are freaks, but they're not this, if that makes sense. I don't know. This is getting to a very adult conversation. Let's keep.
When it was conceived, Joy Junction was meant to teach children morals, right from wrong.
Morals,
but ironically, many of these lessons
Jesus
just so happened to be taught by a man who was actively engaging in the very behaviors that were condemned by Joy Junction.
Yeah.
Ron, they were looking at some dirty pictures and
now it makes sense why his little ventriloquist is a, you know.
they wanted me to look too. I have friends who have pure and clean thoughts and will only give you good ideas.
With his actions forever tainting the show and condemning it to a lifetime of obscurity, remembered only for the man and his puppet who brought the whole thing down.
As a matter of fact, there's something I want to share right now. Really? That's right. Don't go away, kids. Joy Junction is coming right back.
Yeah. You know what? He was probably on some weird stuff. This goes back to the same philosophy. What I was saying is that, like, yo, we must protect our young girls. We also must protect our young boys too. And I feel like sometimes that has a tendency to be overlooked as well. When problems happen to our daughters, it's more, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like there's more action and initiative that's put up. Not so much when it happens to our boys. Boys still victims too, exactly. And I feel like because remember, he said he was a ventriloquist and he sat there for years at birthday parties, at malls and stuff. And to be honest, I don't think any little girl is probably asking for a ventriloquist for her birthday. She's probably seeing if she could get Barbie or a Bratz doll to, like, pull up in the costume or stuff like that. So you get what I'm saying? So what I'm thinking is he probably was able to see all the young boys that he had that were there and was just like, oh, they're like, nobody really, like, if I were to do this, nobody would care. You get what I'm saying? But if I were to do this to the girl, oh, you know, it's going to be a whole big thing. Because it's like, when you see an old man, right? An older man talk to a young girl, that's weird. That is weird. But when you see an older man talking to a younger boy, nobody thinks anything of it. Oh my gosh. Nobody thinks anything of it. It's just, oh, he's just a clown talking to the kid. But it's like, oh, why is the clown talking to my daughter? Hey, Susie, can you come over here? You know what I mean? Let's like get away from the man. But it's like, oh yeah, that Tommy's just talking to the ventriloquist. That's nothing crazy. That's how all this was able to happen, because it's like, it's a boy. It's like, oh, bro, boys don't, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't happen to them. People overlook the sexual abuse that happens to boys. You get what I'm saying? Or SA, you get what I'm saying? Johnny is a tough kid. You feel Feel what I'm saying? Bro, us boys are always going through it and people act like it don't matter. Oh, 100%, bro. 100%. And I feel like it's kind of messed up because like it sucks because there's a lot of like take away the family structure, right? Us boys, right? We're cooked. You know what I mean? Cause like I say this to say this, there's a lot of y'all that probably haven't experienced this yet, but I'm gonna tell y'all the harsh truth because I care about y'all and I don't want this to ever come to y'all as a surprise, okay? There's gonna be a point that when y'all, with the friends that y'all have now, IRL, there's gonna get to a point that when high school finishes, you may not see those friends ever again. I don't wanna be like, oh, don't cry about it. This is the natural progression of life, okay? And that happens if you move schools or stuff like that, but it's like, with girls, so I've noticed that doesn't happen. Like, obviously girls lose friends, but like they don't just like completely separate from each other. Like girls still have a strong foundation of family and girls, like, and their other girlfriends around them in comparison to boys. When boys finish high school, dang, you was alone. It's just you. You know what I'm saying? There's not that many safety nets for young men. You know what I mean? And honestly, we just got to keep it in, like, believe it or not. Exactly. And it's hard because it's like you need to teach your boys to be masculine, but then it's kind of hard where it's just like there's nothing wrong with crying. You know what I mean? Guys, there's nothing wrong with crying because Jesus cried. You see what I'm saying? And Jesus is the most manly man there ever is. And that's facts. No one can tell me and sit here and tell me that Jesus is not a manly man, the manliest man to have ever manned. You get what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with crying, bro. There's nothing wrong with crying. There's nothing wrong with letting your emotions out. You know, I feel like it's just very important. And no one knows what you're going through or been through. Exactly. Just expect you to just be good and keep going. I mean, we kind of switched the topic from victims to emotions. No. I'm trying to explain it like this, right? The idea is still victims, right? But it's just like we're seeing how it translate in emotions. The idea is this, bro. When oddball behavior happens around boys, people don't really bat an eye. People just think it's whatever. But when it happens around girls, it's quick to get snipped in the bud. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, that guy's a weirdo, keep him away. But it's like, oh, that's just John from around the corner. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? It's just John from around the corner, it's whatever. But it's like, you don't know what John around the corner is doing to your son or saying to your son. You know what I mean? This is really what I am. When I was younger, I cried a lot and I was called, and now I don't cry. I get called emotionless and weird. See, exactly. You know what I mean? It goes back to the point where it's just like, I think some people have a tendency to forget that like at the end of the day, men are still human. You know what I'm saying? Men are still human. We still cry. We still have emotions. Obviously we don't have as much of a safety net in comparison to women. And I'm not sitting here advocating for men to be soft and weak. Heck no, because, men still need to be strong. We still need to be protecting our families and being great leaders overall. But at the same time, when you sit there and when a man goes through or a young boy goes through so many things, and when he becomes emotionful and nobody's able to really like give him an ear or at that give him actual help. And when people sit there and turn emotionless, they're like, oh nah, like why do you act like this? Nah, you're so weird. Gang, if you only knew what I've been through, you'd be quiet too. Honestly, you probably wouldn't be here right now if you've been through what I went through. You get what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like it's just something that a lot of people gotta like understand, but I feel like that's one of the burdens that come with being a man. And I feel like one of the most important things is that like when you go through all those crazy things that happen in life, I guess it's best to fall onto God, fall onto Jesus and realize that he is there for you. You know what I mean? No man, no best friend, no anybody is there for you in comparison to how Jesus is. Because Jesus will actually get you right. You know what I'm saying? There's a different type of love and inner peace that you get when you rest all your problems onto the Lord and let him know and realize that he was there. He's there for you. You know what I'm saying? He is there for you, for your best interest. You know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. That's why I recommend for everybody, bro. Obviously, we need to make sure that our young boys are safe. You know what I mean? Keep our young men safe and make sure that they feel loved. You know? Yes, not SA, but acting weird. Oh yeah, that's true. Not many people. I think that also goes back to a society perspective. Like if someone were to do this in a public experiment of this, right, in public, where older person were to try to talk to a male jit, right? People aren't going to really bat too much of an eye. You know what I mean? Like they'll look over and they might hop in to say something or be like, hey, no, let's go find somebody. But if it was a young girl, instant. You may get 10 different dudes tapping and be like, yo, move over. Yo, what's wrong with you, man? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you made my kid cry. Sorry, weird dude. Just don't say that. Just don't say mature things around him. Exactly. Instead of saying, don't say those weird things around him, remove him from the situation. Remove the weirdo. What do you mean? And a lot of people don't realize that. And then that's how a lot a lot of these families be having such crazy allegations and crazy things that happen, bro. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, it's messed up, bro. Bottom line, anybody who heard this entire Yap session, I appreciate you. I love you. And Christ most definitely loves you. I'm trying to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? Christ loves every single one of y'all, bro. Regardless of the fact, I love y'all so much. Y'all have a wonderful, fabulous night. Watch out for your children. Male, female, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter. Just watch out for your kids. Make sure they're safe. Make sure they're around people that love them and care about them. And make sure that all of your kids are able to have a safe space out from the world. Because at the end of the day, what's important is this. The world will hate you. The world will tear you down. The world will make you feel emotions that might make you want to do things to yourself that you probably would have never thought about doing. And that's going to happen. But just know that you have HQ. You see what I'm saying? You have a home court. You have your family. You have Jesus for you. You get what I'm saying? I feel like that's something that's always important. Christ loves y'all. Always repent. I love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful, fabulous day. BTL4L. Peace.